Welcome to Stat 230. How can I help you?
Well, Professor Odds, I am trying to decide whether to take this course. My girlfriend Floozy McDum took it and said it was quite time-consuming. She had to know stuff and look at books and do quizzes. There is a class Fashion Choices of the Neanderthals I could take instead. Why should I learn probability?
Well, unfortunately it might take a bit of work. But what are your plans?
Well, tonight Floozy and I are going to a concert in Toronto. I recently had a minor car accident involving a tree, but it was the tree's fault. I am worried about the cost of car insurance. Also, I heard there is a nuclear generating station only about 50 kilometers from Toronto and it might have a meltdown while we are in Toronto. Then I was going to fly to Vancouver to visit my parents. Do you think that is safe? Also, my dad has a friend with COVID. What are the chances I will get sick?
Let's start with the risk of flying. According to the Transportation Safety Board, there were about 4 fatal accidents per million flying hours in 2020, so the probability of a fatal accident on the 5-hour trip to Vancouver might be approximated by 5 times this, or 20 chances in a million.
Oh, so it is safer to drive?
The number of fatalities from driving is around 1 per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. I guess to drive 2,000 miles, we might expect the chance of a fatality to be around 2,000 times this, or again around 20 chances in a million. And between Waterloo and Vancouver, there are a lot of careless trees.
So, Professor, are you saying I should just sell my car, stay home, and binge-watch Netflix? What if I get sick? What about the Amazon stocks my grandparents gave me? Should I unload them before the market tanks? I heard they were cutting down the Amazon.
What I am saying is that the key to all of these decisions lies in your ability to measure and to compare risks. This is exactly what probability is for.
So how do I measure probabilities?
Well, the last 2 examples were of measuring probabilities based strictly on past data. These are relative frequency probabilities. But there are some other methods in use. You could ask an expert or a friend. Your stock advisor might rate your Amazon stock as a buy because she thinks the chances of it increasing in value are around 80%. This is called subjective probability because it is essentially a guess, perhaps an informed guess.
Oh, I thought we just counted the number of choices to get probabilities. Like heads or tails, 2 choices. So the probability of heads is 1/2.
This is the classical definition, which works only if we know probabilities are equal because of some symmetry in the problem. Like if you throw a fair die, the probability of each face is 1/6.
I see. So I have one final question. If I take this course, rather than the Neanderthal one, what is the probability I will pass it?
Well, if I use the classical definition, there are 2 choices, pass-fail, it is 1/2. But this is not quite like the 2 faces of the coin. If I use the relative frequency definition, then it is around 90%. But since you are the expert here, and you know what your background is, and how hard you work, and whether you will bother to do the quizzes and ask questions on Piazza, you should use subjective probabilities for determining this.
Well, thank you, Professor. I will take your advice and stay home and binge-watch Netflix. But I will choose shows purely at random. And by the way, how many 7-letter words can I make by randomly reordering the letters in the word Netflix?
It is 7 factorial, or 5040. See you later. With classical probability 1/2.